Hi, everyone. Welcome to another episode of the Heart of Homeschooling course. Today's topic is called Connect, and it's the fourth in a series of 9 homeschooling essentials we are covering this year. We're going to look at all the ways homeschoolers connect, such as your immediate and extended family, friends, your local community and neighbors, co-ops, homeschooling classes in your region, regional clubs and organizations that are regional, statewide, and national, such as CHPA, HSC, CHN, CHIA, and GHC. I'm so happy to be with you today. My name's Shannon Carpenter, and I'm the founder and program director of the Heart of Homeschooling program. I've been a homeschooling mom for 7 amazing and unique kiddos for over 20 years now. And I've also been working as a teacher, director, and administrator for classroom-based charter schools, also for about 20 years. I am so passionate about helping other homeschooling parents either get started or find resources and support. So I'm so happy to be here today. Heart of Homeschooling began as one course and has now grown so big that we've turned it into a program of courses meeting the needs of both non-classroom based teachers that need professional development credit and homeschooling parents wanting to learn more. So I just wanted to first talk about family. It's my belief that you need to be connecting with your family, the family that's been given to you. If you aren't connecting with your family, then why are you even doing this thing called homeschooling? It's called homeschooling for a reason. You need to be present and investing time at home. So please be careful. If you're a homeschooling parent, don't overcommit yourself, especially in those first couple of years. It's so easy to get wrapped up in multiple activities and classes that are available, but be careful that you're spending time at home. There are really a lot of good things out there, but you need to be doing the one great thing that you are called to do and making it even more amazing. Be home, be present. So first, take a good look at your planner, your schedule, or your routine. Are you feeling stressed? Do you feel like you are out of balance? If you're feeling stressed and always running around like a chicken with its head cut off, then you need to cut back. Cut back on some things in your schedule. It's time to prune. I recommend talking it out as a family. Have a family meeting. Admit to your family that you've been stressed and overloaded your schedule and ask for forgiveness. Then decide as a family where to prune, where to allow more margin in your lives. You need to have time to build into your relationships at home. I always advise any families that are struggling in the relationship department to put academics on the shelf for a season, at least until the relationship is healthier and you can learn to love each other again. If you're getting on each other's nerves, then you know it's time to refocus on the relationship. What makes you laugh? What did you used to do together that was fun? Do that again for just a season. Just be together, be present, make memories, create a scrapbook of memories for fun and learning, and then slow down and add more things as things become more normalized again and more peaceful. Another thing to do together during this time of refreshment is to reach out to extended family like grandparents and aunts and uncles. Write letters together or FaceTime, or if you have time, go for a weekend and visit. Play games, grow together, bond together as your extended family. This is your support network when times get tough. Family is forever. The next area I want to look at with connections is friends. Some friends are friends forever. We all have friendships like that. You need friends and your children need friends. So again, take out your planner, pencil in dates with friends for your kiddos and dates for just you and your friends without kids. I recommend starting with once a month if you haven't done this for a while, or more often if it's a regular thing for you, and depending on how much extra time you have. But meeting face-to-face for coffee or at a park is so much more valuable than spending time and hours scrolling on Facebook. Just do it. Mark it in your calendar and make a date. It takes commitment and courage, but you can do it. And once you start, it becomes a habit and it gets easier and becomes a part of what you do. Like I mentioned earlier, homeschooling is a life journey that should be shared together. So at Heart of Homeschooling, we've made it easy for you to meet new friends. It's our hope that you will gather with other homeschooling parents and educators on a regular basis to discuss the relevant topics we cover each month. We have over 45 Heart of Homeschooling home groups led by sweet, experienced homeschooling hosts. And those groups meet at least once a month to learn together and build new connections. If you're interested in joining a group in your area, please click on the link in our monthly newsletter or on our website. You can sign up on Sign Up Genius. Just search by our email, heartofhomeschooling@gmail.com, to find the sign up. What about your local community? Our family has always been a part of a local church. That's just our culture. Our kids know that every Sunday we worship together with our community, and many of their friends they've met at church, so naturally they connect with those friends, and our families have become friends. When we then do most of our community activities at church, such as summer camp, VBS, family nights, we're blessed that many of the families we homeschool with also go to our church. So if you aren't connected at a local church, you can look at a bulletin board or grocery store for local community events. You can also join Facebook groups in your community that will have local events or neighborhood social media and other ways to get involved. Our community has a lot of holiday events, so I always check to see what's coming up and put events on my calendar, such as holiday parades or craft fairs. I love the idea of baking goodies with my kids for neighbors to show them how much we love them. Finally, a wonderful family activity that we will talk more about in our 9th Essential in May, and that is serving others as a family. It's so important to serve together. You can serve in a soup kitchen for Thanksgiving, go caroling at Christmas, to retirement homes, or volunteer in an animal shelter. There's so many things you can do as a family to touch others' lives and share your love, which opens the door to connecting. Another great way to make connections is by joining and starting a co-op. Co-op is short for cooperative, and the idea behind it is that a group with the same vision gets together to share the responsibilities of learning together. I will give you an example of something that happened in the small town where I live years ago, before we even moved up here. And it was before charter schools were created. When my son-in-law was a little boy, there was about 10 families that chose to homeschool their kiddos through what's called a private school affidavit. But when their children started to grow older, some of the moms began feeling like they couldn't teach writing as well, and their children weren't learning writing. So they contemplated sending their children to traditional school until my son-in-law's mom, who is an expert and passionate about writing, volunteered to teach writing at her house to all of the junior high and high school kids. So that started, and it grew. Because it was taking such a good amount of her time for preparation, teaching, and follow-up, she didn't know what to do with her younger children. So another mom volunteered to take her younger kiddos while she taught writing, and she taught the younger kiddos history. Then another mom volunteered to teach science, and before they knew it, a co-op was born. It then turned into them needing to find a location because it became challenging for the families to meet in one house. More families wanted to join, and they didn't want to exclude anybody. So luckily, a local church had Sunday school classrooms and offered their rooms for free as long as they cleaned up after themselves. So the group was able to meet once a week from 9 to 2 and shared in the teaching. My son-in-law and many families where I live speak of such sweet memories during that time when the co-op was happening and the years their children grew up there. My son-in-law's mom, Janet, is well known in the community and forever known as the writing teacher for over hundreds of children over about a 20-year span of time. So sweet. So if you're feeling a tug to start a co-op, I encourage you to look into it, or maybe join an existing one in your area and volunteer to help out. Reach out to me if you have any questions at heartofhomeschooling@gmail.com. I'm here to help. Similar to a co-op, but a little different, are vendor or small business classes. My children have always benefited from this amazing way to connect with other homeschool families. Through the years, they've taken gymnastics, dance, piano, horsemanship, drama, art, and more. And they and I have made many friendships just from being at the classes while the children learned. If you are in a charter, I recommend using the vendor list to find classes in your area. If you live in a small town like me, don't let that stop you from forming your own classes. My son wanted to take karate, and my daughter wanted to take Scottish Highland dance. The closest teachers of those two types of classes were over an hour away. So I asked the vendors if they would drive up to me, and I found other students for them. They both agreed. I put the word out, and the students came. I then added a Legos class, and so there were 3 classes back to back for my local community, and my children then connected to other children with similar interests. I connected with the other moms in the area as well. It's a great way to meet new friends and learn a new skill. Finally, I want to talk a little bit about clubs and organizations. There are local and regional clubs and organizations specific to homeschooling, and probably the best way to find out about it in your area is through a Google search or a Facebook group. CHPA, which stands for California Homeschool Parent Association, is a homeschool parent teacher organization specifically created to support homeschooling parents and their needs. They have a great Facebook group I recommend joining under California Homeschool Parent Association. I'm biased a bit since I am the vice president. Then there are others, HSC, CHN, CHIA, and GHC. You can look them all up online. And there's even more listed elsewhere that I couldn't even list on this slide. So I recommend looking it up and finding which one meets your needs. Now I have a very special treat. I met with a very experienced homeschooling mom over the weekend who is also a leader of a pretty large Northern California homeschooling co-op to ask her some general questions about homeschooling and also more specifically about homeschooling connections. Let's watch and learn more about connections from Brenda Johnston.
Hi everyone, we're so excited to be here today, and we're here with my friend Brenda. We're going to talk to you about some homeschooling questions that I have for her. Hey Brenda.
Hello Shannon.
So glad we can be here. You're welcome. So we have some questions that have come in from other parents that I wanted to talk to you about since you are so experienced with homeschooling.
I don't know about that, but
yeah. So let's start out with talking about your own children. How many children do you have?
I have 4 children, and they range in age from 4 to 15, and we have been homeschooling from the beginning. So we started when I just saw my sister-in-law when my oldest was 3. My sister-in-law at the time had 5 children, and she now has 11. So I just thought, wow, the relationships I saw with her, the kids that they had with each other were just super amazing, and I wanted that for my kids. I had no clue what homeschooling was. I didn't know anything about it. When I was growing up, I'd never even heard of it. So just a foreign concept to me. So I just started asking her questions. I started doing research. I went to my first homeschool conference when my oldest was 3. So just started researching, and then we just dove in. So
nice.
We never stopped. So, yeah.
Awesome. I love that she has 11 kids now.
Yeah.
That's amazing. She must be amazing.
Yeah, she's amazing. She keeps it very simple, but she's amazing.
Oh, good. Yeah. Simple is good.
Simple's good.
I'm learning that.
Yeah, me too.
So, have your children, well, you said your children have always been homeschooled, which is awesome. So we'll skip to the next question. What made you initially decide to homeschool your children besides what you mentioned with your sister?
Yeah, just besides that, we wanted to develop relationships with our kids. I just felt like the rat race of just not seeing your kids during their best hours, because their best hours are really in the morning. Let's be honest.
Very true.
By the end of the day, even me, my best hours are in the morning. I get cranky towards the end of the day. So I just didn't want to have their tiredness, and then the homework just keeps getting more and more with our country, trying to keep up with other countries. And I just felt like, do we just want to be doing that all day, or do we want to be developing relationships with our kids and having them have time to pursue their interests and such? And so that's that, and just we're a faith-based family, and we wanted that to be a part of their learning, and not just what the state deemed necessary to learn. And So and it's not that we're afraid of the world or, just, I don't think there's anything wrong with protecting our children. And it's not a fear-based thing. It's just, we just want to instill our values in our children from an early age. And then when they get older, they can go out in the world, I will say, just with that other question, is we did do a little 4-month stint in public school with one of my kids. A couple years ago. One of my daughters was really struggling in math, and we just were not quite sure what to do with it. And so I just suggested, well, maybe you think you can, learn better from the guy down the street at the public school, not thinking she'd take me up on it. It was kind of just throwing it up. And she's like, yes. I said, oh, okay. So I was really surprised, but she went. And the first week she said it was really boring. And it was just a lot of, it was just a local middle school. It was just a lot of taking notes and just regurgitating information. So, and I'm not saying all schools are that way, but that's kind of what she did, like it just for the social aspect a little bit. But yeah, we just didn't find any value in it. Her math actually got worse, her score. So we brought her back home after that. So it was just a little experiment that the grass is not always greener on the other side. So, but I think that's a good thing for kids to learn, So, and if it takes a 4-month stint in public school and a mom has to do drop off and pick up, and I'm also trying to homeschool my other kids, which was just kind of a nightmare.
I can imagine.
Something we did. So.
That's great. No, that would have been a great experience for her, I think. Just to, get her feet wet, so she's not always wondering. Too.
My other kids thought she was crazy because it literally sucked up all her time, and she didn't have time to do some of the other stuff that they were doing. So,
I believe it. Oh, that's great. That's a great example.
Yeah, it was a good learning experience.
So in your view, what are some benefits of homeschooling for your family, for your children?
Yeah, for us specifically, we love to travel. And so when my third when he was 4, so this would have been, I don't know, about 7 years ago, we bought an RV, our first big RV. We'd had some pop-ups before just for random little trips, but so we started RVing. My husband has a lot of vacation time, so we just started RVing and trying to do 6 to 8 weeks a year, and then we just went all over. It was really fun. And then when my youngest, she'll be 4 in a couple weeks, when she was born, in the state of California, you get 12 weeks of baby bonding. So we took full advantage of that, and we actually took 13 weeks, and we bought a different motorhome than the one we'd had before, and we traveled the United States. So we actually RV'd to Alaska, which was insane. I wouldn't recommend it unless you are somewhat familiar with RVing, because it's 5 days just to get through Canada. So it's a lot of gravel, a lot of off-roading, but it's so gorgeous. It's probably been the favorite place we've ever gone. And then we also RV'd to the East Coast and went down the coast, and we got as far as North Carolina, and then we had to start turning home. But that was just a super educational experience, and we did a lot of that in the fall when a lot of cool stuff was going on the East Coast.
Too,
it was really fun. So that's one thing we love about that. And I think just the flexibility too that you have. You're not. We like to RV during the school year, not during the summer, so that we don't have to plan what campground we're going to stay at. We can just arrive, and there's plenty of space. And and I also have an autoimmune disease that has landed me in the hospital a lot over the years, and just a lot of being bedridden and that kind of stuff. And just my kids have learned flexibility. They've learned to help me. They helped me a lot with the baby. I was the sickest when my last was born. And my girls learned so much about, how to cook a meal and how to take care of a baby and all these things that they wouldn't learn if they had been in school. And so just taught them a lot of flexibility, a lot of compassion, empathy. So it was hard. I'm not gonna say it wasn't easy. And a lot of people said, why don't you just put your kids in school? But it was a family thing, and we were together in it, and there was minimal homeschooling that happened that year, and that's okay. They can catch up, and whatever catch up means, so it's good. They learned a lot of life lessons that year.
Right. So minimal academics, but lots of homeschooling going on.
That's right.
That's a beautiful thing. And I hear a lot of what you're saying. I hear a lot of character development, which is so important to me too, for my kids. And just giving them those values, like you mentioned before, and just those opportunities to build their character. So important.
Sure.
Beautiful.
We are back now at the kitchen table having some more chat time and answering some of your questions. So let's finish this up. So do you believe you provide the same level of education that the children in regular traditional schools might receive?
That's a big question. I feel like I am my child's best advocate because I love them like nobody else does. And there are some great teachers out there in public schools and private schools. There's some fabulous teachers. Mm-hmm. But still, my love is still stronger than any of those teachers is ever going to be. They're not going to notice the problems that I might see arising in my child's learning needs. And so I just feel like no matter what your education level is, you still are your child's best advocate, and you're still going to go for, to get them whatever they need to be successful. I do have a college degree. I am not a credentialed teacher, and yet it's not that hard. It really isn't. There's so much curriculum out there that just walks you through that you really don't have to be afraid of, not doing enough or not doing it the right way. There's no right way. The right way is whatever your child needs, because they all have different learning needs. And then the other thing to remember too is just in traditional school, most public school teachers do not finish the book. They don't finish the curriculum. Those kids are going to have holes. My kids are going to have holes. You can't teach your kid everything. And whatever holes, my kids do have, there's Google, just Google it, ask Siri. It's not, it's not the end of the world if they don't know the periodic table by the time they graduate high school or have it memorized, Right. I don't personally use the periodic table in my day-to-day life, so I don't remember it anymore, but I did memorize it, and that just, I just think about how much time I spent memorizing that. I'm like, wow, was that a good use of my time?
Yeah.
So.
Yeah,
anyway,
exactly. So, that's a really good point. Yeah. I love what you said about it being what's best for the child. I think that's so important, and I think that's a really big reason why a lot of people homeschool.
Yeah,
that's really for sure. Really good. It's best for your family.
Yeah.
Awesome. So in your view, are there any drawbacks to homeschooling?
Well, I don't feel like there's huge drawbacks. I think there's so many advantages that it outweighs the drawbacks that are, I think the drawbacks that we think of are things that we think maybe we're missing because of the way we did school, because this is still a new thing for our generation. People are like, well, what about prom? They're this prom. Like, oh my goodness, really, prom did not impact my life. So I had fun in prom, but I just went with a friend. It wasn't the end, I wouldn't have cried if I would have missed it. And so I don't know. I think as your kids get older, especially in high school, it is a little harder in high school because a lot of their friends do go back to school, go back to real school.
Sure.
And so we have come into that where some of their best friends have gone to school, and that's been hard. So it just means that I, as a mom, have to work harder at finding those situations, those social situations that they're looking for, and that maybe just mean I'm driving more to hang out dates. We don't call them play dates anymore, but before they're driving, you're kind of taxing more, and you're busier with that. I think just providing that. But other than that, I don't really feel like there's drawbacks, because my high schoolers have time to pursue their interests when they wouldn't have time if they were constantly doing homework till 10 p.m. at night, and they don't have that, and they have more time with their dad at night, and we have more family time, and so I don't feel like the advantages far outweigh any drawbacks that you might have. So
right, yeah, I couldn't agree more. Yep. Yeah. What are some things a parent that is just starting out homeschooling can do to help get more prepared and more connected with others?
I would say don't go into it thinking, hey, I got this, I can do this alone. Don't isolate. I always tell people, you need to find your people right away, because you are going to get discouraged. The first year is going to be your hardest. And you're going to feel like I have to do it like the school does it. Don't set up a classroom. Don't feel like my student has to sit at a desk. These are classic mistakes that a lot of first-time homeschoolers make, is that you have to sit at a desk. And even I did that initially, but I had some great mentors early on. I went to a lot of conferences early on that said, don't sit at a table, unless you're learning handwriting. That's really the only thing you need. My kids do their math facts on bouncy ball, while they're bouncing, or we do it on the trampoline, or they lay upside down on the sofa, writing something out, and just be untraditional. We did a lot of school at the park because we used to live around the corner from the park. So just don't try to do it like everyone else does it, because that's not what you're trying to do. You're trying to do it differently. You're not trying to bring school into your home, but really find your people group. That whether that's through your church or through a charter if you're with a charter, or just even in your neighborhood, finding other people to homeschool, just finding those few friends that can encourage you initially is what's going to keep you going when it gets hard, because it will get hard at certain points when you're going to cry and be like, oh, I don't know how to teach Johnny this, or whatever,
Right.
So just finding your tribe. So
awesome. I love it. I love it. And do you feel like you have a good community and support around
I
you?
do. Yeah. And just our particular area that we live is probably one of the best areas, I think, to homeschool in California.
I agree.
There's almost too many opportunities in our area where you can really feel overwhelmed at all your choices, and you can end up not being home at all if you chose that, which I don't think is a good thing either, because then you're feeling like, oh, I got to do. What was the whole reason we were homeschooling in the first place? So I think just something I started out with early on is just having a mission statement. Just why am I homeschooling? What do my husband and I want to accomplish through this? And then building around there, because there's so many great things, gymnastics, swimming, horseback riding. These are all great things. Nothing's wrong with it, but you can't do it all at once. Take one thing each season and try out different things while you have the time. Before they get to high school, they can try out these different things, but don't feel like you have to do it all at once. Just take one thing at a time and take it slowly, and make sure you're home some. Just have that cuddle time on the couch and reading aloud and all that
teachable moments.
For sure. Don't be just driving everywhere all day long every day. So you'll just go crazy. And then you won't enjoy it.
That's right.
So,
the housework will pile up.
Yes.
Awesome. Do your children get opportunities to socialize with children? You kind of touched on this a little bit, but maybe you could be more specific on some of the things that you guys do for socialization.
Well, I run a homeschool support group through our church. You don't have to go to our church to attend. We have a lot of moms from other churches, or just even other places that attend. And we do field trips, we do events, we do moms things, we do parent-family get-togethers. Some of the things that that we can't do with a small group, like I bring in mad science, for instance. Well, you have to have it costs $500 to bring them in for a school assembly, so I need a bunch of people to do that. So we do stuff like that, and I think just we take classes a couple days a week, so that's really where they found their kids, their friends. I just getting together with other families, and we just meet them through that. That's why I said before, you can't isolate. You can't just think you can do it alone. You have to do it with people. Park play dates and all that kind of stuff. And
for you and the kids.
You
need that
for
community.
me and the kids.
Exactly.
So
if you know someone who's considering homeschooling, what advice would you give them based on your experience?
I would say start sooner than later. It's easier the younger they are, the easier it is to start. But I would also say with that, sometimes we as moms feel like, especially with certain personalities, feel like we have to research everything to death before we start. But if you do that, you're just going to go down this rabbit hole and you're never going to get out. There's so much to research about homeschooling, and there's so many different methods. You're just going to get overwhelmed. So if God is giving you the inkling, I think we should homeschool, just do it. Just start. Even if you don't feel like you have it all together, you're going to get connected with people that have gone before you. You're going to get advice along the way. You're going to make mistakes along the way, but we do that in any area of parenting. So in any school situation we're in, we're going to make mistakes. So I would say just start if you have that desire, and then just figure it out from there, and don't because otherwise you'll always be like, well, what if maybe I should have done it back then, and you're going to second guess yourself later. So I would say just start and make it a priority. Get your husband on board. It really takes two. My husband doesn't do any of the actual homeschooling, but I have his support. He gives me time off to go be by myself sometimes, especially when they're younger. You're just like, oh my goodness, I've been with them all day. But he gives me time to go away to just recharge with my girlfriends, and so I would do planning weekends every 6 months, especially when they were younger, just to go away and figure out what am I going to do, and that was really helpful to me. So so just if you can outsource certain things that you're not comfortable with, do that. There's so many things you can do to get the support you need, and part of it's your personality. What are you comfortable with, and just figuring that out, knowing yourself, and so those are the things I do. So.
Well, thank you so much for helping us out in this interview today. Thank you for joining us, those of you in the webinar land. And that's it. Thank you.
Hi, everyone. We're so excited to be
Okay, so it was so nice to meet Brenda. I hope you enjoyed seeing and meeting Brenda. I'm going to go ahead and share my last slide. And you've heard me say it before, connecting is what the Heart of Homeschooling is all about. And if you aren't already connected in your region, here are a few ways for you to get connected. email if you have specific questions. Email me. Definitely join the Facebook group. It's a lively group if you haven't already. And please consider joining one of our amazing home groups in your area. You will be filled and you will be blessed. And you can join on Sign Up Genius, like I mentioned before. Use the email heartofhomeschooling@gmail.com to find out more on how to sign up. I will see you next time when we talk about our next topic. Until then, be blessed.